My beloved child, listen closely, because the moment you press play, something inside your life quietly shifts. There is someone whose heart beats faster the second your name appears anywhere. Someone who has loved you far longer, far deeper, far more silently than you could ever imagine. But today, I must tell you the one thing they've been terrified to confess: they have a serious problem with your appearance. Not in the way you fear, but in a way that will shake your entire understanding of how they see you. And if you stay with me, every second, every breath, you will understand why your reflection has become their biggest challenge, their biggest weakness, and their biggest truth. Don't blink. Something massive is coming. A new voice rises now, whispering from the corners of their mind. How do I tell them? How do I say this without losing them forever? Because their problem with your appearance isn't an insult. It's an obsession. They can't handle the way you walk into a room and shift every energy around you. They can't handle how your presence changes their pulse, how your face triggers memories they thought they buried, how your eyes hold questions they aren't brave enough to answer. Every time they see you, they fall apart. Every time they look away, they miss you so much it hurts. And they've been hiding this chaos behind excuses, behind distance, behind silence, thinking they can control it. But they can't. Not anymore. Another revelation is rising, and it's bigger than anything they've ever admitted. Your appearance reminds them of something they once lost. A dream. A promise. A version of themselves they thought died years ago. When they look at you, they don't just see beauty, they see destiny, fate, unfinished chapters, second chances. And that terrifies them. Because how do you tell someone, I love you so much that seeing you hurts? How do you confess, your face is the one thing that pulls me back to hope, back to wanting, back to feeling alive? They're afraid you won't understand. They're afraid you'll think they're judging you. But the truth is the opposite. They think you're too much for them, too powerful, too beautiful, too magnetic. They think they're not enough. Now something else is surfacing, something they've never said out loud even to themselves. There is a reason they act awkward around you. A reason they avoid eye contact sometimes. A reason they freeze when you smile. It's because they've seen versions of you that you don't see in the mirror. They've imagined you in moments, in memories, in futures they aren't ready to admit. They've pictured running into your arms. They've pictured losing you. They've pictured you standing at a distance where they can't reach. They've pictured everything, and it scares them. Your beauty, your energy, your presence. It exposes every insecurity they've been trying to bury. You strip them down to truth without even trying. And now the shocking part, the part no one around you knows, not even the people closest to them. Someone secretly told them that you might move on, that someone else might be noticing you, that your glow is pulling new eyes toward you. And ever since then, they've been restless. Jealous. Triggered. Watching you more closely. Studying your pictures longer than they should. Asking silent questions. Are they talking to someone else? Are they slipping away? Am I too late? Their problem with your appearance is that everyone sees what they see now. Everyone feels the pull they've been fighting. Everyone is waking up to your presence. And they're terrified the world will take you before they ever get the courage to step forward. Stay close. My beloved child, something new rises now, something they never wanted you to find out. The deeper truth behind their struggle with your appearance is about to unfold, and if you blink for even a second, you'll miss the moment everything flips. So stay with me, breathe, and don't scroll, because this is the part where their hidden emotions start cracking open, spilling everything they tried to bury. And what's coming will hit harder than anything you've heard so far. Another layer peels itself open, and suddenly their mind feels exposed. They're afraid of how you look. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but because there's too much right. Your glow has been increasing lately, and they can't explain it. Something about you changed, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, the way your presence fills a space, and they noticed it before anyone else. But now others are noticing too, and jealousy has started to chew at them like a secret fire. They've seen eyes lingering on you, strangers looking twice, people whispering things they can't handle. And the moment they realized they're not the only one captivated, their world shifted. They panicked. Because losing you isn't an option they can survive. A new confession rises, trembling at the edge of their throat. Someone recently hinted to them that you posted something, maybe a picture, maybe a video, maybe a tiny update, that made their heart stop. They stared at it longer than they should have, zoomed in more times than they'll admit, analyzing every detail like a detective who desperately needs answers. They wanted to comment, to say something, to react, but fear held them back. They didn't want you to see their desperation. They didn't want to mess things up. They didn't want to reveal how deeply your appearance affects them every single day. But inside, their emotions were screaming, "This is the reason I can't sleep. This is the reason I can't think straight. This is the reason I've been losing control." A different truth now shakes the ground beneath them. Your appearance reminds them of the version of themselves they wished they could become. You carry confidence they never had, light they lost, courage they never learned. When they look at you, they see everything they're not, but everything they want to be. And instead of feeling threatened, they feel exposed. It's like you hold a mirror to their soul, showing them the parts they tried to hide from the world. You make them want to grow. You make them want to heal. You make them want to step up. But stepping up requires admitting how deeply you affect them, and admitting that scares them more than anything. And now, the revelation that shakes their breath. Someone warned them that if they don't act soon, someone else will. Someone else will approach you. Someone else will admire you. Someone else will hold your attention. And ever since that warning, they've been restless, checking their phone constantly, feeling that silent pressure growing heavier every minute. They've been replaying conversations with you, wondering if they missed signs, wondering if they've wasted too much time. Their problem with your appearance isn't judgment, it's fear. Fear of losing someone they secretly consider irreplaceable. Fear of watching someone else stand where they wish they stood. Fear of being too late to a story that was always meant for them. My beloved child, something heavier begins to rise now, like a truth that's been trapped behind locked doors, pounding to be released. This is the moment where their struggle with your appearance stops being a secret, and becomes the battleground inside their mind. Stay with me closely, because every second from here is a revelation they never wanted exposed. What you're about to hear will change the way you look at their silence, their hesitation, and every time they pulled away when you moved a little closer. A new confession swells inside them, one they've been terrified to admit even in their own thoughts. Your appearance triggers a storm because they don't believe they deserve someone who looks like you. They've convinced themselves that you exist on a different level, a different energy, a different wavelength. When they look at themselves, they see flaws. But when they look at you, they see a masterpiece. And that comparison crushes them every time. They think you could choose anyone. They think you could walk into any room and be noticed instantly. They think you shine too brightly for someone like them. So instead of risking rejection, they hide behind excuses, distance, and silence, thinking it's safer than facing the truth that you might actually want them back. Another revelation unfolds, and it's deeper than jealousy or insecurity. Someone close to them told them, not too long ago, "You're not good enough for someone who looks like that." Those words hit them like a wound that never healed. Ever since then, every time they look at you, those poisonous sentences replay inside their chest. They fear you'll hear the same thing. They fear others will whisper it. They fear you'll eventually believe it. So their problem with your appearance isn't rooted in dislike, it's rooted in fear of comparison. Fear that you'll outgrow them. Fear that they can't keep up with the attention, the admiration, the glow that follows you everywhere you go. But there's a bigger twist, one they haven't told anyone. Recently, they overheard someone talking about you. Someone casually mentioned how stunning, magnetic, or completely transformed you've become. And that conversation shattered them. They realized that other people are noticing what they've been hiding their feelings about. They realized they're not the only one who sees your power. And that realization has been eating them alive. Because deep down, they know the truth, the world sees your worth, and they're afraid the world will claim you before they find courage. They're afraid of watching you walk away with someone who doesn't hesitate the way they do. Now something even deeper stirs in their chest, something raw and unfiltered. They've started avoiding mirrors, not because they don't like how they look, but because every time they face their reflection, they imagine how they look standing next to you. They fear looking mismatched. They fear looking ordinary beside someone who glows. They fear being the one who dulls your shine instead of matching it. And that fear has grown into a silent monster that controls their actions, their words, their distance. They're not protecting themselves from you, they're protecting their heart from the possibility of losing you before they even get the chance to love you fully. But the most shocking truth is rising now, the one they've buried deeper than all the others. Someone recently told them that you might be changing, improving, evolving. And that your transformation is attracting new opportunities, new people, new connections. And ever since then, the idea of losing you has been haunting them like a shadow that follows them everywhere. This is why they stare longer. This is why they get quiet when you look good. This is why they freeze when you walk into a room. Their problem with your appearance isn't a flaw. It's a fear-driven truth they're now running out of time to hide. My beloved child, something inside their soul is collapsing and rebuilding at the same time, and this is where their secret finally begins to break open. This is the stage where their fear of your appearance transforms into something they can no longer control, no longer hide, no longer silence. Stay with me closely, don't look away, because every sentence from here reveals emotions they have fought for months, maybe even years, to keep buried. And now, the truth they avoided is about to erupt. A new pressure sits heavy on their chest, because recently they saw you in a moment they were not prepared for. Maybe it was a picture, a glance, a passing encounter, but whatever it was, it changed everything. You looked different. Brighter. Sharper. More powerful. More aligned. There was something in your eyes that told a story even they didn't fully understand. And that moment terrified them, because suddenly they realized you are stepping into a version of yourself they never imagined. A version that could walk away. A version that could choose better. A version that might not wait for them anymore. So when they say they have a problem with your appearance, it isn't rejection, it's panic. Panic because you're transforming faster than they're confessing. Another truth rises like a flame catching wind. Someone recently made a comment about you, something simple, harmless, maybe even playful, but to them, it felt like a punch. Because that comment wasn't meant for them. It came from someone else who has been secretly admiring you. Someone else who noticed your glow. Someone else who sees the shift happening in you. And the moment they heard it, jealousy and fear twisted together inside them. They realized they're not the only one fighting for your attention. They realized the world is starting to recognize what they always felt: you're unforgettable. You're magnetic. You're rare. And that terrifies them more than anything they've ever felt. A deeper crack now forms in their silence. They've been trying to improve themselves, not for the world, not for anyone else, but because they want to feel worthy standing next to you. They've been trying to dress better, speak better, walk with more confidence, carry themselves with more strength, but every time they see you, they feel that progress crumble. You outshine their insecurities. You overwhelm their guarded heart. You expose everything they've been avoiding. You make them feel things they once swore they'd never feel again. And this intensity scares them, because they've never been around someone who makes them question who they are, and who they want to become. Now the most emotional truth begins to surface. They've been imagining a future with you, not in fantasies, but in fears. They imagine what it would feel like to see you with someone else. They imagine what it would feel like to lose you forever. They imagine waking up one day and realizing they wasted their chance. This fear is why they act distant sometimes. Why they look away. Why they go silent. It's not because they don't love you, it's because they love you too much. And your appearance triggers the part of them that believes you deserve someone better. Someone stronger. Someone more confident. But what they don't realize is that the universe never compares what's meant to align. It just waits for the right moment to collide. And now comes the revelation that shakes the final layer. Someone encouraged them to confess their feelings. Someone told them, if you don't speak now, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. And ever since then, they've been restless. They've been replaying conversations. They've been imagining the moment they finally tell you everything. They've been practicing the words they're too afraid to say out loud. Their problem with your appearance isn't something wrong. It's something overwhelming. Something life-changing. Something they can't run from anymore. My beloved child, today their inner world reaches a breaking point, one they can no longer outrun, ignore, or bury. This is where their fear, desire, jealousy, and longing collide so violently that the truth they've been suppressing finally begins to shake loose. And you must stay with me, because every word from here reveals the hidden storm behind their eyes every time they look at you. Their problem with your appearance has now grown into something impossible to hide. It's not about insecurity anymore. It's about the way you appear in their life, too powerful, too captivating, too unforgettable for them to handle without losing control. They look at you and feel their old self fall apart, their old fears resurface, their old wounds reopen. You're not just a person to them. You're a reminder of everything they hoped for but never believed they could truly have. Another wave of truth rises, heavier than before. Recently, they had a moment where they watched you without you noticing. You were laughing, moving, talking, existing effortlessly. In that moment, they realized something that shook their breath. You've grown into a version of yourself that radiates confidence they once prayed to witness. The way you carry yourself now, the calmness, the power, the glow, makes them feel like they're witnessing a destiny unfolding right in front of their eyes. But with that realization came fear. Because if you can glow like this without them, then the universe might be preparing you for someone else. Someone ready. Someone fearless. And that thought nearly broke them, because they've been too scared to step into the place life carved for them next to you. A deeper truth now spreads through their chest like wildfire. They've been having dreams about you. Dreams where they try to speak but can't, where they try to reach out but freeze, where they see you walking ahead while they stay behind. And every morning after those dreams, they wake up with the same ache, the fear that your beauty, your presence, your transformation is pulling you out of their reach. They don't hate your appearance, they fear they're not strong enough to match it. They fear standing beside you and looking small. They fear being the person everyone wonders, why them, about. They fear your radiance will highlight their insecurities. They fear loving you so deeply they forget how to breathe if they lose you. But something else has begun to happen, something they didn't expect. People around them have started noticing the way they look at you. Someone close to them confronted them recently, saying, "You're in love with them, aren't you?" Those words shook them to their core, because they weren't ready for their secret to be visible. But it is. It's in their eyes when you walk by. It's in their silence when you look too beautiful to ignore. It's in their voice when they speak your name. It's in their heartbeat when someone else compliments you. Their problem with your appearance is not judgment, it's exposure. You expose their heart. You expose their fears. You expose the truth they've buried for far too long. And now, others are noticing what they tried so hard to hide. And now the final truth for this part arrives, the one they've never spoken aloud. They've realized that the reason your appearance affects them so deeply is because you look like the person they always prayed they'd meet someday. Every detail about you matches the quiet dream they never believed would come true. Your smile feels familiar. Your presence feels faded. Your energy feels written in chapters they haven't lived yet. And that realization terrifies them, because it means losing you wouldn't just hurt. It would destroy them. They're not struggling with the way you look, they're struggling with the way you make them feel, the way you make them hope, the way you make them imagine a future they're afraid to claim. And now, they're standing on the edge of a decision that could change everything between you, forever. My beloved child, something inside them is trembling now, like a truth that has been chained for too long and is finally breaking free. This is the moment where their fear of your appearance transforms from a silent storm into a confession they can no longer keep inside. Stay right here with me, because every word that follows exposes the raw, unfiltered reason they've been acting strange, distant, confused, overwhelmed whenever they look at you. Their problem has reached its peak, and the truth behind it is bigger than anything they ever wanted you to discover. Another truth rises, sharp and undeniable. They recently saw a version of you that they never expected to see. Maybe it was the way you were dressed, maybe it was the glow on your face, maybe it was the calm fire in your eyes, but whatever it was, it took their breath away. For a moment, they felt like they were looking at someone untouchable. Someone chosen. Someone transformed by destiny itself. And that moment made them realize something terrifying: you are no longer the person who needed validation. You are the person who commands presence without asking for attention. You've stepped into a power they didn't see coming, and now they're afraid they won't be able to keep up with the version of you the world is starting to recognize. A deeper fear twists inside them now, one they've never dared to say out loud. They worry that your appearance signals something they're not ready for: growth, change, elevation. And they're terrified that your elevation will outgrow their hesitation. You've been moving forward faster than they expected, and now they feel like they're falling behind. Every time they look at you, they see someone rising. Every time they look at themselves, they question if they're rising fast enough to stand beside you. This fear, this comparison, this quiet insecurity is the root of their struggle. Not because you did anything wrong, but because you did everything right. Another crack forms in their silence as an old memory resurfaces. There was a time in their life when someone they cared about left them because they weren't enough. That wound never healed. And now, when they see how quickly you're becoming your best self, that old trauma shakes loose. They fear history repeating itself. They fear watching you slip away like someone else once did. They fear being the person who loved deeply but lost quietly. That's why they tense up when you look stunning. That's why they freeze when someone else compliments you. That's why their breath hitch when you glow. Their heart remembers the pain, and confuses the past with the present. Now something even stronger rises inside them, something they cannot avoid anymore. They've started imagining what it would feel like to finally stand beside you without fear. To match your energy. To match your confidence. To match your growth. They've imagined walking next to you in a crowd and feeling proud instead of insecure. They've imagined holding your hand without wondering if people are judging the difference between you. They've imagined a version of themselves that doesn't fear your shine, but protects it. And deep down, they want to become that version more than anything. Not to impress you, but to deserve the place life carved for them next to you. And now comes the most shocking truth, the one that has been sitting in their chest like a trembling secret. Someone recently told them that you have no idea how attractive you are becoming. That your transformation is natural, effortless, unstoppable. When they heard that, something in them snapped. Because they realized they are running out of excuses. Running out of time. Running out of places to hide their feelings. Your appearance doesn't intimidate them anymore, it awakens them. It forces them to confront everything they've been avoiding. And now, they stand at a crossroads, knowing that the next step they take will determine whether they finally step into your story, or lose you to a future they were too scared to pursue.